Do you remember in the 80s when shows would jump the shark and start out with Fonzie jumping the shark?
It literally was in his leather jacket, jumping over a shark.
And that was when everyone thinks the show went bad. So it started from there, like any show that went bad, jumped the shark. And typically I remember it was like when they added a kid or something.
The kid is the kiss of death for most shows.
Yeah,
like
if you added a
desperation.
If you added a kid, you were done. Like the show that I remember that added a kid and started to go downhill was definitely Growing Pains. You remember Growing Pains?
I wasn't even really watching it that much by the time they added the kid, but it was a little girl with curly hair.
Yeah, so her name was Chrissy, I think, and the mom had the baby. And then Chrissy went from like a baby to a 5-year-old in one season. That's
magic of television. Yeah. Well, it was whatever filled the need, if they needed to go to kindergarten or something.
But then what was really weird is that's not even really the time that Growing Pains for me jumped the shark. I think it was when they brought in like homeless Leonardo DiCaprio.
I don't even remember that.
I think he was someone they adopted, like just off the street and brought him in. It was definitely Leonardo DiCaprio. And I think that's when I stopped watching. Pretty young. Yeah, he was definitely young. I mean, that's Growing Pains in the 80s, so he was super young.
But they added babies in other shows. Like they even did it on Family Ties, which I think was still an awesome show. But they added a little blonde-haired kid that the mom had.
Andy, right?
Yeah, I think they aged him as well, but I'm not sure. I don't.
Yeah, I think what Family Ties jumped the shark for me was when they brought in that Nick guy. Remember Nick?
The or
Yo Mallory.
Yo Mallory. That's what he said.
I think
the dad hated him.
yeah, the dad hated Nick. He was like, I just think that's when. Or the other time it could have jumped the shark was when they brought in the alcoholic Uncle Ned, who was played by Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
I don't know. Family Ties. Maybe Family Ties never jumped the shark, but those were times I think.
Family Ties, I think, was cool the whole time.
Yeah,
I didn't watch it as much during the end, but.
Right.
Oh my gosh! You want to talk about a weird adding a baby? What do you know what I'm going to say? Mork from Mork, or not Mork? What's it called? Mork from Mork.
Mork and Mindy.
Mork and Mindy, which I love Mork and Mindy. I'm still a fan.
Yeah, Mork and Mindy was great until they decided
to bring in man-child, like a man baby.
Yeah. So the deal with Mork and Mindy was
so creepy.
They decided they were going to have a baby, and someone from Ork. So Mork was from Ork, another planet. If you're not familiar with the show, Mork was from Ork, another planet, and they aged backwards. So they had a baby named Mirth.
He's a giant.
He was a giant middle-aged man. He's played by Jonathan Winters. And
could you imagine being the mom in that, like, oh, thanks, gee.
Yeah, so there's a whole episode that had this baby. But the funny thing was that they only wanted to bring this guy out once in a while as some kind of a plot twist or subplot, so they just kind of hid him in the attic. He lived in the attic.
Who has a baby and sticks him up in the attic? So I guess if he's a grown man, CBS wouldn't even say anything about that.
So Mindy didn't really know how to explain this old man baby, so she just hid him in the attic the whole time.
Anyway, super creepy. I don't think he did anything for that show. I don't even know how long it went on after that. Maybe it went on a while. I don't know.
I don't think it did.
I was creeped out. As a child watching that, I thought a middle-aged man was pretty creepy.
Yeah, that was a terrible idea.
Here's another way that a show added a younger child, but did it in a way that they could get rid of that little child. Do y'all remember on the Brady Bunch when they added Cousin Oliver, who I was not a fan, and I don't think he went over very well because he was a cousin who would come to stay with them, and they could just get rid of this guy whenever they wanted to. And I just remember he would be like, I ruined everything. Like every episode, he would like make a mess or spill the beans on something, or he was not a good decision with Brady Bunch. But anyway, they did it good because they were able to get rid of him.
The only thing I remember about Brady Bunch is when Marcia gets hit in the nose with a football.
Hey, you guys. Oh, my nose.
Oh, no. That's a good one.
I don't remember anything.
And Davy Jones, my cheek, I'll never wash it.
Or the green carpet, like the fake green carpet that they had for grass.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I remember of the Brady Bunch. Oh, and then even cartoons would get into it. You had Scrappy-Doo.
I know what you're going to say.
Like Scrappy-Doo came in.
Okay, Dragon Beast, prepare to be splatted.
Who likes Scrappy-Doo? I think Scrappy.
I just thought Scrappy was annoying.
Yeah, I think it lasted quite a bit with Scrappy, and he's even in, I think, the newer cartoons. But
I bet Scrappy was some way to try and relate to the younger kids for Scooby-Doo.
Probably.
But I didn't. Us older folks.
Well, it's older people trying to figure out what little kids want to watch, and it didn't go well for them.
Well, it didn't go well for me. Yeah. Maybe the little kids liked it, but it didn't go well for
Not me.
So those are just the shows that we thought off the top of our head. What shows do you think jumped the shark back in the day? Do you have any ideas? Leave them in the comments.